Is anyone taking notes of this? This old age question haunts the conferences rooms and echoes through the team calls. However, a better question is anyone taking good notes of this? I've been in the corporate world for about 4 years now. I hate to dilly-dally. I hate to spend too much time on any given task. I like to bang out all those tasks as fast as I can so I can actually focus on things that interest me, on growing my skill set, exploring new possibilities and new pathways. I don't like spending too much work on administrative tasks or grunt work, so I've developed my own little system of good notes. So in this video, I'll be going over with you on what constitutes good notes, differences between written and typed, what are the internal and external meeting note structures that I have, and my specific little tips and tricks. Friends, let us try to define what is a good note-taking practice. And I'm quoting here from a book. The key to good and efficient writing lies in the intelligent organization of ideas and notes. This is a quote from a book called How to Take Smart Notes. This is a book for students and academics, and it can also be reflected in a lot of videos on YouTube you can find on how to take good notes, but most of those videos cater to student or learning notes. However, there is a difference between work notes and learning notes. Work notes are a point-in-time recording of the most salient points that you can revisit time and time again. They don't require you to go through extensive memorization. Learning on the job usually happens through organic, repetitive process of just being exposed to the same material over and over again, to the same keywords over and over again, and then just refreshing your memory through your quick notes. I've boiled down my own personal preferences into two key elements of what makes good notes for me: simplicity and a good reusable structure. Now, in terms of simplicity, I am lazy when it comes to these little things. I'm lazy about upkeeping all the details and presenting everything and cramming the information into one source. I want key points to be ready for me when I review the work or the work notes. I want the key points to just jump out at me, and I want them to be recorded in as little effort as possible, but at the same time just enough so I don't have to ransack my brain for all the details. At the same time, we have to have a structure in place that will shepherd along our objectives and help us in achieving our meeting goals. There needs to be a level of flexibility that will not restrict a good flow of ideas or questions whenever they may arise during the conversation, or if you think of something that can ameliorate the process or help out your clients. So when I come into the meeting, I don't plan out moment by moment or by hourly what we will be covering. I just have a general structure with a few objectives in place that I will be following. Now, combining all of these outlined needs for simplicity, structure, and general ease of use, accommodating my laziness when it comes to keeping track of all these things, I've come up with two distinct structures. One for external meetings or really big important team meetings, and two for internal, impromptu, or quick team meetings. For the external meetings, this is the meat of this video. I use OneNote because the very sexy, the very popular Notion is unfortunately banned in my company, and as it is in many other companies due to its security issues. I like to type up the external meetings because there are so many stakeholders, so many ideas being pitched in, so many opinions. So it's important to always be ready to delete or reshuffle your notes or add more things and to keep it neat and clean. I like to type it up. You also look a bit more professional carrying around your laptop or your notepad. And at the end of the meeting, you can make your money moves and send along almost immediately your nicely structured actions, takeaways, and summaries. Okay, so here I have my OneNote open. As you can see here, I have two tabs open. So for example, this would be a notepad for a client, and I would have an admin and a section 1. I can also have section 2, section 3. You guys are getting a total bonus because I'm also giving you a little bit of an overview of OneNote and how to use it more efficiently. So in the admin section, I barely ever add any more of the additional pages in there. I just keep it as an overview, and then as the meetings progress, I might afterwards create another tab and just title it as actions for week of May 16th. And then it would be just a list of those actions, but I don't touch the admin tab that much because this is like my centerfold. This is the anchor that I keep coming back to, because in here, this is usually something that I record during the first meeting with the clients, and these are the questions that are always popping up. So the timeline, everybody throughout the project always asks us, what is our timeline? What is the delivery deadline? What is the audit period? What is the period we're looking at? So try to include as many timelines as you can. The budget, so if this is an internal meeting with your teammates, a kickoff meeting, this is where you will ask about the budget. And overall, it's good to have it all in one place. So you had an internal kickoff, you wouldn't share this with your client, what is the budget in terms of hours, but you would just have it for yourself. And it's also a good idea within that budget to kind of designate who gets how many. Now, for the main contacts, you'll be surprised how many times people ask, who do I contact for this? Or who do I CC? Do I need to include all of these people in the invitation or the email? So make sure to have the main contacts, their email addresses if you can't see them in the email invite, and their job titles. And then to set up, I always have, and this is specific for my consulting job, internal status calls and external status calls. They're important to just have touch points with the client throughout the weeks, and also with the team internally. Now, if I move into section 1, this is the structure that I have for every client meeting after the first one. So I always get the person's job title and the people who were present during the meeting, just to have a sense of accountability and who I can be reaching out to for specific questions. Good thing also about OneNote is that you can see here, you can have little pages for sections, and then also at the top you have even the time and the date. You can see here it's May 11th, so hopefully this will be going out on Friday. You guys can hold me accountable with this. So after at the top I would write the people and their job title. I always copy and paste if it's in the email, or make my own little objectives agenda, and it can literally be just one note, one little line that will just keep you anchored to the objective of the meeting. Because if it's not there, or if by the end of the meeting you get carried away and you didn't capture that, you're just gonna have to have another meeting, and it's really frustrating for everybody. Like I said, I'm lazy and I don't like to plan out everything in minute detail, so just one sentence is really more than enough. Now, for clarifying questions, in case something came up during the internal meetings, this is something that I would pop in there, or when I'm reviewing the report before the client call, or the client mentioned something during the very first meeting, I would pop those questions in there, and this way I keep track of them and I don't forget what it is that I needed to ask them. Next, and this is one of the benefits of writing everything digitally, is that as you're going through, the notes, and you're going through the sections that you needed to discuss, along the way somebody says, oh, for example, this isn't with us, this needs to be another call. So this is an action point for you and the client, that there needs to be scheduled another call to cover a part of the objective that wasn't covered. There are many action points that pop up throughout the meeting, so it's important to just dump them all in one place, so you don't have to, scan through the notes afterwards and with great pain in your heart try to figure out what were all the action points. And then lastly, and this is something that I used to note not actively in my mind, but now it just comes more naturally to me. Maybe I would jot a few things down, like the one part of the team is always late on the client side, or the dynamic seems to be a bit strained, or we get great, interactions and a lot of provision of documents that we need from some people, and then others are always lagging. And is there interpersonal dynamics at place that need to be noted? And this is something that is good, especially if you're in a client-facing role, because afterwards you can calibrate and tweak your interactions. Maybe at some point you need to ask some questions and follow-ups. Who's got what kind of personality, who is more safe to refer to, and who needs a bit more prep work and a little bit more detail to address afterwards. This is the last part of the video, and that is all about the internal quick notes. And I usually just carry, even smaller than this, a really small notepad with me everywhere I go. You would never know, like sometimes a manager asks you to come into the office, and instead of just, unplugging all of the things that your computer is hooked up at and taking it out of its cozy workplace, you can just grab your note, and then as your manager kind of fires at you all the information, you don't even have time to kind of, rearrange it in really, specific or good structures. So you can really quickly just jot it all down. It can look ugly and disorganized, but just keep jotting it all down, and then I go and I revisit after my meetings the action points I need to work on, and either pop them in my calendar, or sometimes if it's too confusing, just revisit it every once in a while, because it's so messy, once in a while, to see and check off things that I've done. Another good thing about carrying this little notepad with you wherever you go is that sometimes you can be privy to high-level conversations or something that goes above your head. So that way you can flip to the very back and just jot down a few words or a few sentences that you didn't understand, and you can look up afterwards. For example, software life cycle or product life cycle, and you don't really know what are all the parts of the life cycle, you can look it up afterwards and just build up the knowledge that is specific to the buzzwords that keep appearing around you in your workplace. Alright, my friends, these have been my tips on taking amazing, glorious, very, very good notes for work. I hope you can take 2 minutes out of your day right now after this video, put them into a quick template. It will just take you 2 minutes tops for, the typing notes, and you'll see a really big difference in your day-to-day. You'll be the person who appears really knowledgeable because you always have that answer of when is the budget, what is the budget, when is the deadline, and you'll always have the notes ready for when somebody forgets something. So it's just an extra layer of professionalism added to you, and personally, you will also reduce a lot of friction and administrative tasks that you have to do. If you found this video useful, if you found this in any way serving your week, your work week, let me know in the comments below. And if you want some amazing, awesome, spicy tips, I have a video out every Friday. So as not to miss out on those videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I would love to see you in my next video. Take care.
If I tell you why